Welcome to the podcast, Let the Prophet Speak. Today we continue our study of Sefer Mishlei, the book of Proverbs. We are up to verse 17 in chapter 26. The Proverbs that we are going to learn from Shlomo, from King Solomon today together, are pretty self-explanatory. A couple of issues with translation here and there, but they're pretty straightforward, and I hope this wisdom helps guide you through a day of seeking truth, a day of love, a day of happiness, a day of success. Verse 17 begins as follows: Machazik bi'ozne kelev, over misaber al rivlolo. Somebody who joins in on a fight in which he has no part, a fight in which he has no role to play other than to continue join in on a side and escalate the violence, is like a person who grabs the ears of a dog who is surely going to simply only get bitten. If you push or torture or hurt an animal, you can only expect it to fight back. There was no point in doing it, no purpose in doing it. Obviously, to do it and then complain, "Oh no, that dog is terrible because it bit me," is ridiculous. And the same thing, if you go jump in on a fight that you had no business jumping in on, and then you get hurt in the end, complaining is useless and counterproductive. Verse 18, Kimislahale hayore zikim chitzim v'maves. Such a person is just like a crazy man who is firing off arrows. Imagine a person who's just standing in the street, just shooting his gun up into the air for no reason. Those bullets can easily land on someone's head. So that there's no point or purpose to perpetrating that violence. This is attached, of course, to the verse before 17, a person jumping in on a fight that he had, starting a war for no reason, starting a war which you had no business starting a fight that you had no business starting, and then complaining about the outcome. And of course, unfortunately, innocent people get hurt by the madman who's just throwing arrows in the marketplace. Verse 19, Kain ish rima esre'ehu. This is similar to a person who lies to his friend, who stands up there and lies and makes up lies, v'omar, and then he says, "Halom misachek ani, I was just joking." The easy way for someone to get out of a problem when he says something that hurts other people, just like the arrows hurt people, words and lies hurt people. But then when people confront him and say, "You lied," I wasn't lying, I was just joking. Hello, misachek ani, I was just joking. Be'efes eitzim tich be'esh. If there is no wood, then there is no fire. The fire will go out. In other words, for a fight, for violence to happen, there have to be people around fueling the fight. The fight doesn't just happen. The fight happens because people are making it happen. Uve'ein near gun, and if there is nobody whispering means saying secrets about him to her, about her to him, pushing, stoking on the violence, the fight, yishtok madon, all madon is all disagreements, violent disagreements, painful disagreements will be quieted. If people aren't talking behind other people's backs to hurt other people, all these fights would go away. Pecham legecholim ve'etzim la'esh. This is again continuing the same theme. Just as coals are to burning coals. In other words, if you have burning embers at the bottom of the fire and then you put wood on top of it, the fire will come out stronger. Ve'etzim la'esh, and wood to a flame. Ve'ish medonim lecharcher riv. The same way as a person who is a contentious person, a person who is constantly looking after strife, constantly trying to make fights, that is what the kind of person who kindles, who lights up fire. He's like the fuel to the flame. Verse 22 is again continuing on this theme, and this one, the traditional commentaries have a little bit of a different take than many of the of the scholars, and I actually like the modern scholars' more common interpretation of this word. But I'll tell you both just so that you should know. Is how do you translate this word mitlahamim, right? So but let's translate it first the traditional way. Divrei nirgon kimitlahamim. The words of a whisperer, the same whisperer we were talking before, a person who's constantly causing strife, are kimitlahamim, are like things that harm people, that hurt people, that bruise people, that damage people. Another way of understanding is really the opposite of mitlahamim as being desserts or dainty morsels. The way but I'm going to explain in a minute how you would then translate the pasuk. V'hem yardu chadrei batin, and they go down to the deep depths of the belly. In other words, if you look at the traditional translation, they go down into the innermost parts of a person's soul. If you look at it as mitlahamim, as desserts or morsels, then the way you would translate it is people love to hear these little tidbits of information about other people, right? And then they eat these little bits of dessert, and it goes down into their belly, and they absorb it. Everyone loves to hear these little things. That's the attraction that the nirgan, the whisperer, the one who is stoking the flames of hatred and fights, is doing, because he's giving out these little dainty morsels of tidbits of information, tidbits of lashon hara. So those would be two ways of understanding that verse 22. Kesef sigim mitzupal chores. Again, we're talking about a person who stokes the flames of hatred and violence and arguments and fights. But now, if you imagine the stereotype, which is not always fair, of course, of the salesman who talks up his or her product, right, and talks about how this product is great, but they're covering up. They're actually selling you a lemon. So kesef sigim mitzupal chores. When a person has evil intentions and his lips are eager and urgent and eager and excited to give over this information, and they want to sell you something, it is like a earthenware vessel that is covered or plated in silver. So it looks like it's silver, but it's actually earthenware. And the same thing when a person is trying to sell you something, whether it's a product or an idea that's not so great, and they speak so excitedly about the product, the Sifasayim Dolkim, they speak excitedly, but inside they have ill intent. They're trying to sell you a lemon. They're trying to make a deal out of it. Bisfasov yinoker sonei uvikirbo yashis mirma. This is verse 24. I'm sorry. Bisvasov yinoker sonei, an enemy, right? A person that hates, right? He's estranged. Well, it's not. I don't know exactly how to conjugate this verb here in English. He makes himself strange, the hater. In other words, by what it means is he covers up his intent with his lips, so that you don't realize he's a sona. You don't realize he's truly trying to harm you. You think he's trying to sell you something good. Think about the master salesman who's trying to sell you something that you don't need and will actually be harmful to you, maybe because it's more expensive than it needs to be or whatever. So with his lips, he hides himself. So he hides the fact that he really hates you. He's really trying to hurt you, but he makes it look like he's trying to help you. V'kirbo yashis mirma. Inside, he harbors lies and deceit, and he really wants to cheat you. Ki yichanein kolo, when his voice gets really wonderful and graceful and nice, al tamenbo, don't believe him. Ki sheva toivos blibo, in his heart he has he wants to commit 7 abominations, which 7 is the language that the Torah uses very often to connote something that's very common. Something that happens 7 times is something that happens all the time. So it's really a way of saying he has all kinds of devious plans in his heart. So don't believe him, no matter how much he sweet talks you. Verse 26, Tikases sina b'masaon. His hatred is covered up in his in all of his masaon is all of the convoluted statements that he makes. He's covering up. He's saying this. He's saying that. He's saying the other thing. He's constantly saying all kinds of things designed to mask his ill intent. Right, designed to try to pretend that this is something good. Tigolera aso bikahol. But eventually, at some point, his true evil intent will become obvious to the public. Eventually, at some point, no matter how much he tries to cover it up with his speech, it will become obvious. Kore shachas boyipol, a person who digs a hole, a person who tries to fight the people he doesn't like by putting out obstacles in front of them, eventually he himself will fall into one of those very obstacles. Vigol 11 is someone who's pushing a stone up a hill, Elof Tashuv, who's the one who is going to roll upon the person himself. If you're going to go and try to push stones and obstacles and dig pits for other people, you're going to be the one that falls into the hole eventually, and you're going to be the one who gets hit by the stone eventually. Lashon Sheker, this is the last verse of the parak of the chapter, Yisna Dakov, right? The false lying tongue hates the people who are being hurt by his tongue. In other words, he says he sweet talks all kinds of things. This person that we've been talking about convinces all of the people around him, convinces all of the people that are being affected so deeply by his speech that he's doing it for them, he's doing it being nice, but really inside he hates the people, and he hates the people that he hurts with his speech. He talks as if he loves them, but he actually hates them, and therefore he hurts them with his speech. And it is his smooth speech, his sweet talking, which is what causes people to get pushed down, causes people to get hurt. So, and the more he hurts the people that he hates, the more he hates them. Lashon Sheker Yisna Dakov. He hates the people that he hurts. As he hurts them, he hates them even more. That's the connotations of these words, the way it's phrased here in the Hebrew. The more he crushes them, the more he hates them. Anyway, this is powerful words from Shlomo HaMelech. This concludes chapter 26. I deeply appreciate everyone who spends the time to study with me and learn with me together here. I look forward to studying chapter 27, of course, and the rest of this wonderful book of Proverbs together. I hope you learned something. Feel free to comment on any of the public forums, and if you'd like to email me directly, feel free to email me at weinrebsaul@gmail.com. That's WEINREB @gmail.com.